Happy Friday, everyone. I will be back in the classroom on Monday. Looking forward to a great testing week next week, so be sure to get plenty of rest this weekend. And this is our last chance. Well, we probably will have class on Monday. I think, if I'm not mistaken, reading starts, and we'll have math on Tuesday. So we've got one last day together before you take your KSA. So the first part just tells you how to get on the Desmos calculator, because when you take KSA, you're only allowed to use the online calculator with a few exceptions, but most of you have to use the online calculator. And this tells you how to get to the practice one. So just follow those steps. And then you get to this section and you'll be able to look at that calculator and figure out how to type those in, I think. So we're going to start with number 6. You've already done, you're going to do 1 through 5 on your own, but I want to show you a couple of these. So the rest of this is about ratios, and ratios means a comparison of two numbers. So for number 6, it says a 6-pack of soda is on sale for $2.46. So with this, I see two numbers. I see a 6-pack and I see $2.46. So when you have two numbers, you can compare those and it makes a ratio. Then it says, what is the cost of 1 can of soda? So we are trying to find the cost of 1 can of soda. This is called a unit rate. And the way you find a unit rate is you decide if you're going to do packs or sodas per dollar or dollars per soda. Well, when I go buy sodas, I want to know how much they are each. So we're going to dollars per soda. That means you would take $2.46. You would divide by 6. And that gives you the unit price. That's how much for 1 can. The good thing about the unit rate is once you have it, you can use it to calculate other things. So if I wanted to buy 10 sodas, or if I wanted to buy 12 sodas, I could just multiply them by this number and I would have my cost. So in number 7, and I won't tell you what that answer is, but when you get it, just write on the line. Number 7, at the supermarket, 6 mangoes cost $6.12. Once again, there's my two numbers I can compare. What is the cost of 8 mangoes? So first you have to find your unit rate. So that would be dollars divided by mangoes. And you get the cost per mango, which I can do that one in my head. It's $1.02. Okay, this is the cost of 1 mango. So I'm going to put per mango. Per means for 1. Then it says, what is the cost of 8 mangoes? So once you have your unit rate, you're just going to multiply by 1.02. Depending on the problem, sometimes you have to divide by that unit rate. But in this case, we're going to multiply $1.02, which is per mango, times the 8 mangoes, and that gives us our total cost. Be sure to write that in that blank. I'm not going over every problem. I'm going to skip through these a little bit. Number 8 says which pair of ratios are equivalent, which means proportional, which means is the rate for these two items the same as the rate for these two items. So let's check the first one. 8 old rings for every new ring. So for every means for 1. So there's 1 new ring. 8 for every 1. So that's the ratio. If I divided those, I would find out it's a ratio of 8. If I look at the other one, I have 16 old rings for every 2 new rings. Once again, if I divide those, I still get 8. Make sure it's in the correct order. We have more old rings here, more old rings here. So this pair of ratios would be equivalent. So I won't tell you the other two, but you'll have to figure those out the same way. You'll divide to see if they have the same rate. That's called being proportional. Okay, I'm going to skip through some of these because number 9 I'm going to skip through. I'm going to skip through the rest of number 8 and number 9. Number 10. In math class, the girl to boy ratio is 8:6. If there are 24 girls in the class, how many boys are there? Because of, I know what's coming in 7th grade, I like to make tables for these. We do lots of tables in 7th grade. And it's going to make a little more sense in the later one why I think tables are so important. So the girl to boy ratio, notice it says girl to boy, is 8:6. So you write those in that same order, 8:6. The second part says there are 24 girls in the class. Okay, the reason I did that is because now I can easily see how many times greater the number of girls is. It looks like we have 3 times as many girls. So I'll write 3 times over here. And if you have 3 times as many girls and you have a proportional relationship, that means you also have 3 times as many boys. So to get your answer, you would take 6 times 3 also. I'm skipping through number 11, through number 12, through number 13. Number 13, same kind of relationship. You're trying to see what happens with the white keys. What happens for the total number of keys over here. So I'm going to leave some of this to you. There is one I want to skip to, number 15. In science class, the girl-to-boy ratio is 3:7. If there are 50 students total in the class, how many are boys? This one is a little bit different. It gave us a part-to-part ratio. Part of them are girls and part are boys. But then when it gave the rest of it, it was total students. So for that reason, I'm going to make a table that has 3 columns. Girls, boys, and T for total. So in the original ratio, it says the ratio of girls to boys is 3:7. And I'm going to go ahead and calculate the total in that original ratio, even though they didn't tell me, that's a total of 10 students. And the second part of this, there are 50 total students. So now I have something where I can compare from row to row. The total is, I'm sorry, I hope you could see that. The total is 5 times greater. That means the number of boys is also 5 times greater, and the number of girls is 5 times greater. So I made that third column just so I can compare the totals. Now the question says, how many are boys? So once you multiply all of these by 5, 3 times 5 is 15, 7 times 5 is 35. Now you can see how many boys there are. To simplify a ratio just means to find out what they have in common and divide by it. So for example, I notice they're both even. I can divide them both by 2. I can also divide them both by 4. There are several numbers you can divide both of those by. But you just get it down into simplest form, which means it's kind of like simplifying a fraction. In fact, this is the same thing as simplifying 68 over 84. Okay, once again, you're looking for a relationship in this table. And I believe that's it. Okay. All right, when you finish, be sure to turn it in because I am taking grades this week on everything to make sure that everyone's accountable for work while I was out. And I think that's it. I will see you on Monday.